Now, while people in northern latitudes may ring in the new year in relative wintry comfort, many in the Southern Hemisphere are suffering a stark reminder of a climate crisis. Intense heat during the Brazilian summer is just one indicator of another year of broken heat records and the urgency of working to fight climate change.
Most Brazilians are used to sweltering temperatures as the year comes to an end. It is summer after all. But this year's string of heat waves already started months earlier.
People are fainting in the subway. People don't feel well. It's too hot. A heat that people aren't used to.
2023 shattered climate records all across the world. According to a report by the World Meteorological Organization, it's said to be the hottest year on record, about 1.4 degrees Celsius hotter compared to pre-industrial times. The extent of Antarctic Sea has never been lower. Sea levels continue to rise. And so did the levels of greenhouse gases.
And that's the first domino in this whole series of connected indicators. As long as those greenhouse gas concentrations continue to increase, the energy in the climate system, the temperature of the Earth will keep on increasing.
When we emit greenhouse gases by burning fossil fuels, we make weather events like these floods in Somalia more common and intense. Key ecosystems vital to keep the planet habitable are starting to break down. Ice sheets are melting, permafrost is thawing, and coral reefs are dying off. It was only a few weeks ago, at the UN climate talks in Dubai, that world leaders officially agreed to transition away fossil fuels for the first time. The agreement was hailed as a breakthrough, yet many say the text doesn't go far enough because it doesn't call for a complete fossil fuel phase-out.
What we are missing is finance that is massively needed to support developing countries to transition away from fossil fuels.
One thing is clear, if countries don't act fast enough, we can expect new climate records in the coming years.
Indeed, over the past 20 years that I've been doing this, we've said very similar things every single year. Until we reverse that trend of greenhouse gas concentrations going up in the atmosphere, then we'll continue to see warming.
And Brazilians may have to prepare for the likelihood of an even hotter 2024.
I'm joined now by Liz Bentley, the Chief Executive at the Royal Meteorological Society. A pleasure to have you with us. In a year of climate extremes, what stands out most to you when you look back at 2023?
Yeah, it's the number of extremes that we're seeing, whether they're globally. So we saw the all-time highest global average temperature record broken in 2023. We're now on for 2023 to be the hottest year ever recorded. But then you look at what those extreme heat events are causing. So more extreme storms, such as Cyclone Freddy that happened earlier in 2023, one of the longest lasting and deadliest cyclones that we've ever seen on Earth. We see more flooding events because a warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, and therefore when we get rainfall, it tends to be a lot heavier, more deluges of rain, leading to flooding as well. So it's the impact. And then you look at the marine heat wave as well, which is one of the reasons why we've seen more extreme heat temperatures records being broken during 2023, because our oceans are much warmer now than they ever used to be. They're absorbing all of that heat, and they have done for decades, and that's now feeding back into the atmosphere and actually causing those temperature records to be broken more often.
There's change is happening when it comes to dealing with the climate emergency, but are policymakers reacting quickly enough, do you think?
Yeah, I think the science is there. The evidence is very clear that as we continue to burn fossil fuels, that's gas, oil and coal, then we will continue to see our climate to change, those temperatures to increase and more extreme weather events to happen. So the science is very clear. And you said at like COP28, we're now starting to see fossil fuel or a transition away from fossil fuel now being embedded into the text. But it's taken a long time for us to get to that. And so governments and policymakers are now starting to recognise that this is important. But I do think countries, businesses, communities, and us as individuals have recognised this now for many years and have started to make that transition away from fossil fuel already. So without waiting for policymakers and the governments to kind of step up and lead, I guess, on this, we're already starting to see, as I say, businesses and countries and communities actually starting to take a lead on this transition away from fossil fuels.